You are watching the only podcast that matters, and I'm your host, Juan,
And I'm your host, Jean Paul Leek.
and this is
Rope
Rope
Break.
Break. How's it going, everybody? We have a great show for you guys tonight. Another Thursday night. We review the best night in wrestling, which is Wednesday, and we're really excited to be joined by you. We thank you for your time and everything. NXT Jean Paul Egg Go Home Show for NXT Takeover Portland. A pretty solid show, hyping, what's going to happen on Sunday night. And we're very excited because we're going to be watching every single move, every single match, every single detail will be analyzed by you and me. So we're
Yep.
ready. And before we start everything, guys, like always, we want to say thank you to all the new subscribers and also the ones that have been loyal with us since day one. Thank you because we do this for all of you, and we're just gonna keep improving for you. We have a lot of ideas, we have a lot of things in the making, in the works, just for you two guys to enjoy. Special thanks to Eric and Derek, two guys that were with us at a bar, and we just mentioned that we do something with wrestling, and they subscribe to the channel right away. Thank you guys for believing in us,
Yep.
Mr.
And
Leek.
I was gonna say, and all the subscribers, like I said, you're all part of the Rope Break family, and we pop like Edge's return, that size pop every time we see a new subscriber. So don't think that it doesn't mean anything to us. Each and every one of you, we love seeing that when that bell ding when we see the one. And we see, this person subscribed, that person subscribed. We love each and every one of you, so thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's no better way to like say what like how excited we get. So, guys, again, please keep subscribing, keep helping us out to grow, keeps help this idea to grow even more. So, Mr. Jean Paul Eck, we had, like I said, a pretty solid show, a lot
Hmm.
of build up for what's gonna happen on
Yeah.
Sunday.
And I
So,
like, and the one thing I liked, I will say, I did say that Dynamite was a solid show. There wasn't really a lot wrong with it. There wasn't anything really wrong with it at all. There was a couple things I would change here and there, but I mean, the same thing with NXT. But I think NXT was a really good show. I think it was a little bit better than Dynamite, but just because there's like a lot of continuity with NXT, I feel sometimes Dynamite loses the continuity. Like every week, the story progression for NXT is real smooth. Like we saw last week, and we'll get into it with this opening match when Undisputed Era was looking for Champa, and they kicked around Bronson Reed, Kushida, all these other guys. Now this week they came back for revenge. You see a lot of consistency. It's not just like random matches like MJF and Jungle Boy. Like, why did they have a match? That match made, like, what was the point? It
it's
made
like,
zero
why
sense.
are they fighting? Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
like, and everything on NXT has the continuity and the story, and it all flows good and it makes sense. Uh,
Attention to detail. When
Yeah.
they're telling the story, they know where everything is going to go for the week. The next week.
Hmm.
Whatever they do is going to make sense from this week and the week after.
Exactly.
So yeah, and you're right. And by the way, our AEW Dynamite reviews right there in the channel. Please, watch it. Give us a lot of comments because the show was, I will say, pretty solid. We have a AEW Women's Champion, a new one in Nyla Rose, and we have a new debut
Hmm.
from the guy John
Jeff Cobb.
Jeff Cobb, a guy that's from Ring of Honor, and he was also in Lucha Underground. And we just love to see how we as a channel keep growing and growing. So please check that out. We will be covering Revolution also in like a couple of weeks. So now let's bring our attention to NXT. And the show was opened by Roderick Strong. He comes out. He's really on business mode. He did got my music. I don't want to I don't care what's going on. He's like right away talking about the Velveteen Dream. He's like, what the hell, dude? He's like, you made it personal. You put like my wife's face and my kid on your tights, and on top of that, you don't do that to me. So he wants revenge on that. Correct, Mister Leek?
Yep.
And he storms, like I said, he comes out to the ring and he wants a match, and he demands for an apology. But right away we get to see the Velveteen Dream, and he cuts a promo and he says, relax. He's like, hey, I come for my revenge because you took away the North American Championship room with me. You put me out for like a couple of months and everything. But before the Velveteen Dream is like about to like finish, Bronson Reed comes out and he storms to the ring saying that he wants to fight Roderick Strong, and the match is on. So what do you think about this whole match? I think
The
it
whole
was a
match,
pretty
yeah,
solid.
yeah. I mean, let's and Roderick Strong. What can we say about him that we haven't already said? He's super legit. The guy, they call him the pacemaker because he can just go, go, go long matches, and it seems like he's never winded. He's never slowing down. He can just, his intensity is there from bell to bell. And Bronson Reed, no offense to our boy Otis, who is gonna be the highlight of tomorrow night, but Bronson Reed is like Otis, but like he can actually wrestle. And again, that's no offense to Otis, but Bronson Reed, he's big. He's the same build, big, short, chunky guy, but he can do moves and he looks good and he can move good for his size and all that. And like I said, he's like Otis with like, you took the skill knob and you turned it up a little bit.
And
I
there's
mean,
an intensity
yeah,
behind it also. Like,
yeah.
this guy comes to fight. He doesn't come to get Mandy. He
Hmm.
doesn't come, to just entertain. This guy, I don't think he cares at all about entertaining. He
No.
comes in to fight,
Hmm.
to like get his revenge on Roderick Strong. And they had a really good match. I think, of course, on the losing end, Bronson Reed, he took the pin and everything, but I think overall his showing was pretty solid.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I will give a knock on this whole NXT show is every single match was predictable. There wasn't I mean, I'm not saying that I'm a wrestling genius, a wrestling, like the greatest booker on the planet, even though sometimes I like to think I am. But, when I'm watching all this show and all these matches, as soon as the match started, I was like, oh, Roderick's gonna win, or oh, this guy's gonna win. This woman's gonna win. None of them, there was no swerve. There was no Isaiah Swerve Scott. You know
Sir
what I mean?
Scott, there
Yeah,
was no,
yeah,
yeah,
there,
I
yeah,
was
there,
thinking about that, yeah.
yeah, there was none of that. The only one that, like, I mean, we'll get to it when we get to it. The cruiserweight match, they had to kill us with our boy Angel Garza, but with everything he's doing on Raw, to me, I was thinking even, partway through this match, I'm like, he's on Raw for the next, month or maybe even longer. Who knows? So, I figured that they were going to go with Leo Rush. But like I said, besides that match, everything was super predictable. And that was my only real problem with NXT tonight.
I will agree with you because like the one problem that you have with the go home shows is like if you have any matches involving the people that are going to be in the pay-per-view,
Mhm.
then you have to make them win
Yeah.
because you have to hype them up for
Yeah,
the
but there
pay-per-view.
there was a couple times where you could have like in this match. I mean, like we'll get to it when you go through it, but at the end I'll mention it now. When Velveteen's music hit and Strong was like looking around, and then I think Bronson Reed dove to the outside onto Roderick Strong. To me, that's when he should have dove, threw him back in the ring, and hit the pin, and then he gets the upset win over Roderick Strong because then it's like, oh, he was distracted. Or you
Yeah,
could have had the same thing in like the main event. You could have had Kushida pull the upset on Adam Cole, and then that could have got Kushida's stock back up. Ciampa could have came out. Ciampa's music could have hit. He could have ran down to the ring, and then he's like, "What?" And then he gets the surfboard lock or whatever in the middle of the ring, and then but that's different because I guess he's tapping out instead of getting pinned, but he could have rolled up,
yeah,
Adam
he
Cole.
could have.
Yeah, there's
Many
that.
times they could have done that,
Yeah,
but
that's the only thing I was thinking. Like you could pull a swerve like that, but usually that's something you do on a baby face, and then the baby face gets the win at the pay-per-view. But since it was
yeah.
all heels that were winning, you're not really going to do that. So.
Yeah, you're right. Like I will say, like the predictability of the show was like pretty much that's what it was. It was
Hmm.
just pretty extremely predictable. But we're gonna go over, of course, that we always do some like over like some of the high spots that like highlights of the match. Roderick Strong goes for a superplex, but Bronson Reed throws him down. Strong hits Reed with a step up Inziguri. And then he hits a superplex on Reed, covering for a 2 count. Then Reed escapes to the ring, and Strong hits a wrecking ball dropkick on Reed and goes to the outside. Strong loses Reed back. He tosses back in the ring, but then the lights turn purple and Strong is distracted, like John Paul was saying. The Velveteen Dreams music hit, so he's like, "Okay, what's going on?" And like you said, that would have been the perfect moment for Bronson to get the win, but like I guess they kept it like good for Roderick Strong. So
Hmm.
when Reed capitalizes, even I put that on my notes, capitalizes on the distraction and hits a top on Strong, then he tosses him back in the ring. But Reed goes to the top turnbuckle and goes to dive on Strong, but Strong catches Reed with a knee to the face and pins him for a 3 count. So despite the distraction, Roderick Strong still gets the win, but I think that they do that because he's kind of like on the losing end. If you
Hmm.
think about it, like he's kind of like the weakest man on the Undisputed Era. Why? And mainly why? Because he doesn't have gold.
Yeah, he just lost to Keith Lee, so it's like we need to get him a win here because I'm not saying I hope their feud is longer than one match, but the feud with him and Velveteen Dream is going to end with the Dream winning.
Exactly,
You're
because
not going
there's
to
no
have
way you're gonna have it come back and
yeah, you're
not
not
get
going to
the
have
win.
a returning Velveteen Dream lose. So like that's why I think they gave him the win, but like see that's the one thing I like is just from the storytelling aspect. It wasn't like, oh, we had, some like local jobber come out and go against Roderick Strong. You had Bronson Reed who he attacked the previous week. It all makes sense. Like why didn't we see like going to AEW like Michael Nakazawa jump Pac backstage? He beat him down what, 2 times already? He should be jumping him with a steel chair.
And we never saw Michael Nakazawa going against Pac.
Yeah, and it should be like let me get my revenge. That's the thing. It's like I like because these guys are people. They're wrestlers. What are you gonna do? Oh yeah, just kick my ass. That's fine. I'll just sit here and take it. Like no, you're gonna be pissed. You're gonna want revenge.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Like,
that's the one thing that I did like. Even though he lost, he looked good, and it
but
was
and
a
also
great
he
ending match.
tried to get his revenge.
Yeah, yeah, he at least tried. Yeah.
Yeah. So moving along, Jumpo, he Roderick Strong is celebrating in the ring, but then the Velveteen Dream, like I said, he appears on the big screen and he talks about how the Undisputed Era tried to take his career from him, and as Strong, would you like it if something happened to your family? So that's when you make it personal like that, I'm thinking, okay, this is gonna get good. This is gonna get really good. And then the Velveteen Dream shows a picture of the Strong's wife and his child with the Velveteen Dream on his tights. So like he's kind of like already putting himself into Roderick Strong family. So Strong is like absolutely furious, and then the video counts out and we move on.
Yeah, I like when he said something like, he's like, if anything happens to you, I'll make all of Marina's dreams come true. And
Yeah.
all
Oh,
that stuff. And then he's like, you son of a bitch, like runs to the back and stuff. And I'm
well,
not
it's
sure if Roderick Strong I think he has a son, but I think Velveteen Dream called it, he said your daughter. So I don't know if he messed up or if that was just like to being
probably
like,
was a
oh,
messed up because like his son's name is Troy actually. So
yeah.
he's a boy.
Yeah, so then that's what I mean. But I think he said a daughter, so that was either a mess up or he's trying to like insult him a little bit. I wasn't sure what, but I did pick up on that. But I mean, hey, that's a slip of the tongue. Anybody
Yeah,
can accidentally say something.
exactly. That's true. And then we get to one of like the most exciting and most funny parts of the show, and we get the Dusty Classic champions, our bro Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, and they're on their way of going to Portland. So it's a comedy sketch, and then like I said, we get them, and they're on the road to Portland, so they can take the trophy with them instead of having it to bring it on a flight. So this is why, like the first part of the series, you see like the whole sketch, and it's like, how are we gonna get to Portland? So they get in the car, and then they start driving, and then we get to see how and they get pulled over, right?
Yeah, well, they're driving down the highway for like how long Matt Riddle's driving. And then, obviously, like any long road trip, you get sick of driving or you get tired, so they switch off. They switch, and then Pete Dunne starts driving. And because in England, they drive on the opposite side of
Yes,
the road. So
yes.
he's driving on the opposite side of the road. He gets pulled over. And he's like, Pete, what are you doing, bro? He's like, you don't drive on the right side of the road. And then, so the cops pull him over. And of course, Matt Riddle's probably stoned as shit, was smoking, driving their Mustang because he's the stallion, driving down the highway. So he's like, hold on, man, hold on. Let me do the talking, bro. He's like 10 and 2 on the wheel. Don't say nothing. Let me do the talking.
Right away.
Then it cuts to a tow truck and they're getting towed away. And he's like, why were you driving without a license, bro? And he's like, you don't have a license either. And he's like, bro, listen, don't worry. We got this figured out.
It's the last time that
Yeah.
you do the talk.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
boy,
that's
got
a
this
different.
all figured out and everything.
Yeah, to me, this was this whole miniseries. I was dying. Like all the 3 parts was like almost. I will say it's like the highlight of the show. Like
And like
just
you said, like Matt Riddle is funny as hell.
yeah,
And they play off of that like weird relationship that they have because Matt Riddle is all happy, all hyped up, he's all like, energetic, and Pete Dunne is just like, okay,
yeah,
sure. So,
yeah, exactly.
so like they play out of like, that I will say like how different they are.
Yeah, like the
How
opposites
contrasting
attract.
their
Kind of.
personalities
Yeah.
are. Like the one is extremely happy and hype, the other one is just
Mhm.
mellow and just like, oh yeah, whatever it is, it is. So we go back to from commercial, and then Kathy Kelly's interviewing our boy Angel Garza, and
Hmm.
he's saying he's going to have a match with Leo Rush to determine the number one contender for the NXT Cruiserweight Champion. And he says, "Don't worry, girl. I beat him before. He's already an old rival, but Latinos in the casa. We know this." So he
Hmm.
said, and right after I'm done with him, I'm going to go to see Devlin. But then Leo Rush comes in and he's like, "Hold on, no, what are you talking about? This time it's going to be my turn." So they have like a little altercation right there, and yeah, that's why we all just get like hyped for the match.
Yeah, because
So
I like, Garza even said too. She's like, "Oh, losing your cruiserweight championship." He's like, "No, what? No." He's like, "I didn't lose it." He's like, "I didn't get pinned. I didn't submit." He's like, "That was Scott. That wasn't me." So
yeah,
I like that because it's like to me, even though he lost the belt, he didn't lose. So he's still credible. You know what I mean? He's almost like he can make an argument that he's like the uncrowned champion. Like
exactly.
he didn't lose in a singles role, to lose the belt. So like when he lost, it didn't really hurt his stock too much. And then Leo Rush, he's so good, and that's why, like when he like going into this match losing here, I didn't mind because to me Leo Rush is so good, and whenever I see him wrestle, I'm like, just think he was Bobby Lashley's like manager on
Like
Monday
like
Night Raw.
mouthpiece or
Yeah,
manager.
yeah.
Yeah,
Now look at him. The dude is like, he could wrestle with Rey Mysterio, Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy, all these guys, and
with
put on
anybody.
amazing
Absolutely.
matches.
And like, see, and that's how you see like how Vince McMahon wastes his talent,
Hmm.
because that's a waste. Why would you put him to talk when this guy can wrestle?
Yeah, and because Vince, all he cares about is appearance.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna say it, and it's true, and I know it won't offend anybody. It'll offend Vince, but I really don't care. He doesn't like black people.
yeah.
That's why he uses them. Unless you're like a big muscle head like Bobby Lashley. Look at Cedric. He don't use Cedric. Look at all these other people who he has.
And
They don't
and
use them.
and don't even, if you want to dive into the
I
Lashley
mean,
situation,
it's just
how is
anyone.
Lashley portrayed?
Yeah. I
Like a
mean,
joke,
yeah, if
like
it
a
wasn't
joke.
for this sex angle with Lana and this all, married and all this shit, he wouldn't have used him. And
Yeah,
I mean, I shouldn't even say it's black people. He don't like, the only race he likes besides white people is Samoans.
yeah, yeah.
He loves The Rock and his family and all them, but that's it.
But that is all. That is all it. So we're gonna get like, we're gonna go into the match before, because it was a really great match, and like at least you can see how like the NXT Cruiserweight Championship have like really good contenders. There has
Mm.
a lot of competition. There is very competitive. So that's important for me. And we're gonna go over to that match in a little bit, because we have first Candice LeRae against Dakota Kai. Candice unfortunately doesn't have anything like really meaningful going on as of late. The past like time that like when Candice was really important was with Io Shirai. When she
Yeah,
was actually like feuding with her, that was probably one of the best
yeah.
feuds of
And then I mean,
2019.
the
Best
only
women's
thing,
match of
yeah,
2019.
and then she had a good showing in War Games, but because it was just her and Rhea. But I feel that because of everything Rhea did that weekend, she got overshadowed.
Yes.
You know
Yes.
what I mean? And that was unfortunate because it was just her and Rhea and Candice. Candice was just as big a part of that as Rhea Ripley was.
Yes.
And it's like nobody talks about Candice, which is unfortunate for her. But like you said, she hasn't really done anything besides that to be in the spotlight.
Yes, and then that's unfortunate, and of course, that Korakai has a really interesting, meaningful, like once again, feud with Tegan
Mm.
Knox. So of course they had to like what they're doing in this match is actually promote or hype Dakota Kai.
Mm-hmm.
So they had like a really good match though. It was intense. I want to say they needed to have Dakota get the pin, and she did.
Yeah.
And of course, like the one thing I will say, like Candice still look good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I will say, like even in the next couple of months going into SummerSlam, I will say maybe Candice should be the one to be, in that baby face role that she deserves, to maybe go into like a NXT Women's Championship match.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends. I'll get more into it when we do previews and predictions, but the women's division is wide open. You could have Rhea hold that title for months. You could have Rhea drop that title on Sunday. There's so many different things that you could do, and I mean, hell, who the hell knows if Charlotte? Let's say they go just the route, the easiest path. Rhea wins, blah blah blah. She goes against Charlotte at Mania, and let's say she loses to Charlotte. Charlotte comes back down to NXT as a heel. What better babyface to beat Charlotte than Candice LeRae? You
Yeah,
know what I mean? So there's
absolutely.
so many different things because like Bianca to me is like an in-betweener. I feel like if Bianca would win, she would become a face. Like if she would beat Rhea and Rhea gets called up to the main roster or something, then I feel like Bianca becomes a face. There's no way, because she's so over with the crowd. There's no way she would be a heel. But I mean, I don't know. The whole women's division is wide open for
That's what I
NXT.
was about to say. The same thing that you just mentioned, that Bianca Belair, like the reaction that she gets from people is from like a baby face,
Hmm.
and she's actually, you will say, in this situation she's the heel.
Yeah, I
So
would say she's a heel character because she was on the heel team at War Games,
yes,
and she's like a heel. That's her like kind of persona. But the crowd, whether because I'll say the same thing. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. The NXT crowd is marks just as much as the AEW crowd is marks. So I feel like they just cheer who they find to be good. And that's what they do with Bianca. But I think her role is, if they had like a character bio, it would say heel.
oh yeah, yeah. I
Or
will say the same thing. Like, I mean, even her performance at the Royal Rumble, it
mhm,
was from like a heel persona.
yeah,
But well, let's move on to, like, Dakota Kai, Candice LeRae. Like I said, good match, and we're all hoping that the match with Tegan Knox from the Dakota Kai Street Fight is
mhm,
gonna be really good. Like,
mhm,
hopefully they use all the toys available, the kendo stick, chairs. We're hoping that
mhm,
this match, kind of like, for me, is like, steals the show, because
yeah,
I really love Tegan Knox. Dakota Kai, like, her heel turn has been really good. Like, she's kept, like, is giving her more depth to her character, and
yeah.
doesn't go from being the loser despite being a good wrestler.
And I also feel that like this match, with Candice LeRae, like you said, Candice looked good. There's a bunch of spots where Candice almost could have won, like she got the Gargano escape on her twice and all that. And even after the match, where Candice got in Dakota Kai's face because she just won with a roll up, I believe. So, and then she had to use the ring bell to knock her out. So then we see the hints of using like the weapons and stuff or outside,
The
foreign
toys and
yeah,
everything. Yes.
foreign objects. So the one part I did like in the match is when she went up for the like a suplex to the outside. I hope that was like a hint. I hope we see her actually maybe set up a table and maybe suplex Tegan Knox through the table. Or maybe Tegan Knox counters and then hits something and then they go through the table. But I do want to see that. I want to see something really legit, not just kendo sticks and weak chair shots to the back and then Shining Wizard and done. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
want to see something that's really legit that makes you go
Hopefully,
like, holy shit.
because having the stipulation of the street fight, hopefully we get to see, a lot of uses of the outside,
Yeah,
the
there's
toys.
one thing I can guarantee it'll be better than any Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin street fight we'd ever
Well,
seen.
and anything,
Yeah,
anything. If you put the Teletubbies on, is always going to be better than Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin. I don't mind seeing them and getting the
yeah,
freaking.
yeah.
I rather see that 1,000 times than to see
Hmm.
Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin. So, Mr. Egg, some spots of the match that we always do. The ref forces Dakota Kai to back up and give Candice space in the corner, but Candice hits Kai, giving herself some space. Candice goes to the top rope, and then Kai follows her and tries to do the superplex, like you mentioned, outside. Hopefully, she actually pulls it off at the Takeover Portland. LaRae to the outside of the ring instead. Kai falls to the apron and kicks LaRae up to the top turnbuckle, covering LaRae for a 2 count. And then Candice goes face first from the apron, but LaRae dodges. Instead, Kai grabs Candice's arm and pulls her shoulder first into the ring post. Candice falls to the outside of the ring, and we go on commercial. Back to the commercial break. LaRae hits Kai to the middle rope and hits a swinging net breaker on Kai. LaRae goes for the moonsault, but Kai debates, and Kai tries to super kick Candice, but Candice hits the German suplex on Kai and logs in the Gargano escape. Like you said, like, she's actually using that as part of her arsenal, which is good, and even more
I will
pronounced
say
is like,
it was when she had it applied, it looked pretty weak. I'm not gonna
yes,
lie, it did
yes,
not look. I don't know if like and they Nigel was trying to say, oh, Dakota has her body twisted. That's why it's not applied correctly. So like good defense by Dakota, but which I mean was true. I'm gonna say, but I think it was also to cover for the fact that she didn't have it applied well.
oh yeah, well, like you said, Nigel is actually helping her out because,
Yeah.
of course, Moro were selling it. He's like, well, she's taking a page of her husband Johnny Gargano's with the Gargano escape, and
Hmm.
then Nigel, I think, like you said, he noticed it, how weak
Hmm.
the submission hold was applied, and that's
Yeah.
why he had to kind of sell it like in like a subtle way. That way, people don't think, oh, she's not putting the move right.
Hmm.
So then, like I said, she's on the Gargano escape, and then Kai turns the Gargano escape into a pinfall and from a roll up, and then she gets the victory. So good match. I really think that like it helps Dakota Kai. Like she's going strong for
Mm-hmm.
Takeover Portland. And then after the match, Candice chases down Kai, but Kai throws LeRae's face into the ring bell. Like Jean Paul mentioned it, so you can see like a tease of toys. And then she grabs the bell and hits LeRae in the midsection. Kai stalks LeRae and looks like she's about to hit her with the bell again. And then Tegan Knox comes out of nowhere and ambushes Kai. And then Knox continues to strike away at Kai until security separates them. So you see the feud is like two friends that they used to be, like Jean Paul and myself, but now they're enemies. So every time that you see these things, you know that like there's more like there's more meat, there's more
Mm-hmm.
substance in this kind of
Yeah, and
rivalry.
and with the beatdown, I want to see how this goes because, like I said, WWE sometimes they're predictable, as in this show. Because you and I both, excuse me, you and I both thought, there's no way Candice is going to win because you're not going to have Dakota Kai lose before the pay-per-view. But normally, after a match, whoever is laying on their back, whoever is beat down, is the one who's going to win the next night. So with Dakota Kai being jumped, beat down, and this and that laid out, does that mean your girl Tegan Knox is gonna lose? I hope so, because I'm Team Kai and you're Team Knox, so
I
we'll
know.
see.
I know. I don't know why you do that to me, but like to
Well,
me,
that'll be the turn. Yeah,
I hope that like she beats it with the kendo stick like for like 10,000
mhm.
times, Shining Wizard and done.
We'll be at the elimination chamber, and then we'll show up on the Tron. They'll should be showing the fans, and then I start beating you with a knee brace.
It will be like something like this,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
and
The
I'll
knee
turn
brace,
on
yeah.
you. They'll
No,
be
you beat
like,
me with the glasses. That's what you're
yeah,
gonna be doing. Yeah. So we get like yeah, like security separates them, and then we go to like a video package of Johnny Gargano and Cameron Grimes because they had an incident. Backstage in one of the NXT live events. So they were talking, and then Cameron Grimes got on Gargano's face, and then William Regal set the match for this NXT. So I think that like to finish with Dakota and Tegan Knox, to me that's gonna be probably the one of the best matches. So I'm really
yeah. I mean,
thinking that if they use everything, it will be good.
I'm gonna probably say it'll probably be for me at least as good as the women's championship match, but with all the other matches going on, it might be like one of the weakest of the show. But that's just because look how good all the other matches are. Keith Lee, Dominic Dijakovic, Finn Balor, I'm excited for. I'm not super big on Johnny Gargano, but that I'm really excited for that match anyway. Same thing with Champa, but Cole and him is good, and there's the whole that match I'm intrigued in because everybody's putting all their eggs in the Champa basket, but I could see, maybe Cole still winning it because, hey, he's so close to being the longest reigning champ. Maybe they're going to give it to him. And if Ciampa's hurt, they're not going to give him the belt. I don't know what's going on with that. But, I mean, this match will be good, but I'm only going to say it's like going to be on par for one of like the weakest just because the whole show is going to be like five-star
And
classic.
we have your boys, the Broser weights,
Uh-huh.
going into
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
Undisputed Era for the tag
That's what I
title.
mean.
So this
There's
is
so many
probably one of
matches.
the best cards on paper. Like, and they always say this. We always hear this every single time that there's a takeover. This is the best card ever. Like, but in this situation, if you see, like, we've been invested in all this build up ever since December and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Like, we are really excited because every single matchup makes sense because
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
good story
The
behind it.
I will say that I'll probably like the street fight more than the women's championship match because that championship match, Charlotte Flair is going to be there, she's going to cause some bullshit, and that's going to take me out of it. I'd rather just have her be sitting in the crowd and not have any interaction, but I feel like she's going to come down the ramp or she's going to, have to climb over the barricade and woo, and it's like you're so cringy. Please
Yeah,
stop.
but
You
like,
know what I
well,
mean? So
any of that, save it for previews and predictions
I
because
had to tease them. I had to tease the
you
fans.
got the
Yeah,
tease.
yeah, you have
Yes,
to.
but like I know that like I'm going in the same lines as you are, and me when it comes to Ciampa and Adam Cole, I'm just gonna say there might be a wrestler that might be debuting.
Hmm.
So I'm not gonna reveal anything. There was two new signees for the NXT at the Performance Center, so there might be something going on right there. We will
I'll
elaborate
give you a
everything.
hint. I'll
This
give
and
you a hint.
more.
I'll give you a
Previews
hint,
and
everybody. It's not the Rock's daughter.
no, it's not Simone. No, it's not. So, Mr. Egg, Johnny Gargano, Cameron Brands. What a great match. Johnny
It was
Gargano, excellent. Go ahead.
yeah. It was really good, and again, maybe this is because I'm not a Gargano mark like everybody else. I thought with Cameron Grimes and all that, especially if Gargano is going to win on um on Sunday, this could have been a match. Not saying Finn Balor comes out, but this could have been a match where Gargano didn't look so strong. I felt like Grimes, we haven't seen him on TV for a little bit. He could have looked stronger. I mean, you're not going to give him the win. I understand that, but I felt like Gargano, I always just think he looks too strong in his matches. He needs to have, and then maybe it would be too predictable if it happened every time, but I think he needs to get beat down more and have the babyface comeback. I never
Yeah,
see him. I never see him make the babyface comeback. He's always either in charge or it's even. You know what I mean? He's never like has to fight from behind. He's never like a Rey Mysterio who fights from adversity and wins. But it's like Gargano weighs what, 185 pounds? You know what I
when
mean?
it comes
He's like
to when,
five. He's like
when it
five
comes,
eight.
I guess because you're not able to put that with like Cameron Graham because they probably don't think that Cameron Graham is in the same level
Yeah,
as.
but look how you booked Cameron Grimes when he first started. He was doing the cave in, the double chest stomp, and done in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, no, I
Booking him
know,
like a monster.
I know, yeah,
And then
but,
now he's like, he
but it's
went from
because
like up here to like down here now, and it's like,
but
that's
it,
my only kind of thing.
this happens because we always said before because you have so many talents and
Mm-hmm.
it's so difficult when you have so much good talent when you have so many skillful performance it's so difficult to please the one and not the other. It's difficult to make sure that all of them look like at the same level. So you gotta pick, I guess, like the ones that you've been made before, your homeboys. And in this case, Gargano is probably, of course, one of the biggest, names in on NXT. So you had to make Cameron Grimes the victim. At some
Mm-hmm.
point, they all have to play victim.
Yeah.
And in this case, it was Cameron Grimes.
No, yeah, and with that being said, I'm not saying Cameron Grimes didn't look good. He definitely looked good in this match, and I think now, people seeing him here again, they're gonna be more familiar with Cameron Grimes. Like, oh yeah, I remember him, the guy with the hat with Kushida, and people are really gonna be more invested in him again. But if I'm just minor nitpicking, I would like to see him get a little more offense in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the match was like I will say out of all the whole show, this and the NXT Cruiserweight Champion and the number one contenders match, I think both of them were like the best matches of the show.
Yeah.
So because you see Gargano and Grimes is a great performer, so they
Hmm.
were able to give the intensity, and at
Yeah.
some point, like I said,
And
Grimes seemed like he was going to get the win.
yeah, and Gargano, like I said, I'm not like maybe invested in his character, but in the ring, the dude he's amazing. He is a 5-star machine. Like,
Yes,
and
yes,
especially like at the end, I'll give my opinions how like the end of the match went, but take us through it because I just love the transition at the end.
that's true. It's like Gargano catches Grimes with an enziguri and then runs the ropes, but Grimes catches Gargano and hits him with a Spanish fly for a close 2 count. That was really good when they caught each other.
Hmm.
Then, yep, and then Grimes strikes the Gargano's face, but Gargano gets to his feet, catching Grimes with a super kick. Then Grimes delivers his own super kick and goes for a power slam, but Gargano reverses it into a DDT. Gargano goes to this corner and goes for the DIY super kick, but Grimes blocks it. Grimes goes for the cave in, but Gargano avoids it and catches Grimes in a Gargano escape. Then Grimes submits almost immediately, and Gargano picks up the victory.
Yeah, at the end, he like when he went for the cave in, he did like a Hurricane Rana or like a head scissors, and as soon as they hit the mat, it was like if you blinked for half a second, you missed it. Hurricane Rana right into the Gargano escape, and that's what I mean. That transition was so smooth and it was like butter. Like it just looked so good, and you can't take anything away from Gargano, but like he tapped out immediately, which you and I both we
I
don't
don't
like.
like that.
We don't
I
like
don't.
that, but I mean, I guess maybe after that long, grueling match, it was like, hey, whatever. But I would have liked to maybe see him try to reach for the ropes, and then it's like, maybe Gargano hooks his arm with his foot or something, and it's like, okay, I'm in the middle of the ring, I can't move, I'm dead tired. Yeah, I'll tap.
Yeah,
But not he had it on instantly, and you didn't even see no fight or no struggle. It was immediate, and it was like,
and
really?
exactly that's one of the things that I don't like because okay, I understand it's a submission hole, but like at least like you said, give me like a minute and a half. You're not wasting that. It's a minute and a half. At least put pressure, apply. For example, remember how Kurt Angle will like put extra pressure and he'll move it, like he'll
Yeah.
twist the ankle more, and
Yeah,
like
he doesn't just go
twist,
like this and then they tap. He has to go like this for how long, and then
and then
and then
when he twists it's like when he applies extra pressure, and it's like da, and then
yeah, yeah,
done. So
exactly.
like Yeah, so that's one of the things that, like, to me, submission should be how you present the whole submission thing should be a little
Because
better.
hell, if we play WWE 2K, we should put on the Gargano escape, and it should be ding, 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 win.
It should be
Instead of
done,
having to mash the button, for how long, and it's
and
like,
it's
come
not
on,
done.
yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So that's one of the things that maybe it will just be like minor details. Like we
hmm
like sometimes we can be nitpicking, but
hmm
yeah, I agree with you. But overall, the match absolutely great, and Johnny Gargano goes, like like the powerhouse that he is to go against Finn Balor. He goes really, really great. He's like, I probably whoever wins out of the Finn Balor and Gargano is going to be the number one contender for the NXT Championship. So, he's going really, really hype for this match. And
hmm
after the match, Gargano stares into the camera and calls out Finn Balor. He said, I hope you're watching this Sunday in Portland. I show you exactly why I am what they say I am. Johnny Wrestling. So, of course, the last message to Finn Balor, like I said, this can be probably the best match of the night because how good Finn Balor and Gargano is, and just to see them together, a rivalry that actually took probably since I will say in the beginning of November
Yeah,
before War
yeah.
Games.
Whenever,
It was
whenever
supposed to
Finn,
take. It was
whenever
supposed to
Finn
be at
Balor,
War
yeah,
Games.
whenever Finn Balor first came down to NXT, I feel like one of the first people he called out was Gargano.
Yeah, he came back for Gargano. So we finally are going to get to see this match taking place. So we can just can't wait.
hmm
Takeover Portland promises a lot, and we're really excited about it. So backstage, Kathy Kelly is interviewing Adam Cole about his match with Kushida, later in the night. But Cole wants to talk about Tommaso Ciampa. Cole says that while Ciampa is willing to do a lot to win his championship, Cole says that he will do anything that it takes to keep the NXT championship. We get another Brotherways skit about how they get to Portland, and then we go to commercial. In this case, they're like he's like running those machines in the water,
Yeah,
like
like
the
the swan boat thing. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna take a boat," and he's like, "Really?" And then it like zooms out, and you see him. They're in there, and he's like, "No, bro, we're not taking this." He's like, "This is just where I come to Zen to think," and he's like, "Hmm." And he's
what do I
thinking,
do
then
now?
yeah, and then he figures out, oh, we're gonna fly there, and then
All of that. Yeah, we'll get to the last skit
uh,
after that. But we're coming back from commercial. There, Robert Stone and Chelsea Green, they cut a promo saying that they will be on NXT next week. And also we get the announcement that Roderick Strong and the Velveteen Dream is going to be the main event for next week's show, which is really cool. Good thing I want to mention this. They don't even waste this type of match for, Takeover Portland because they know the car is completely stocked.
oh
Because
yeah,
you
and
will
they
put
yeah,
this
and
match.
they know that Triple H listens to the fans. We don't want to sit there for 3.5, 4 hours, 5 hours and watch a show. We like a 2.5, 2 hour show. Boom, legit wrestling and done. We don't want to sit there forever because then we get bored of it. Then by the time the main event comes on, you're looking at your phone because you're like, how much wrestling can you just sit there and watch? Like, I mean, yeah,
Exactly.
we watch a lot, but like there's breaks you got to take. You can't just
What do,
watch it
what do
all
we
in
do
one.
every week, Jean Paul? We do like 9 hours around that of
Yeah,
wrestling.
you know what I mean? But to sit there in one setting, like watching Monday Night Raw is a chore to sit
Yeah.
there for 3 hours.
And we do it for you guys, especially Jean Paul, because his reviews are on point, and there's a lot of insight when it comes to that, and a good, like positive and negative review from Monday Night Raw. So we get to the number one contenders match for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship: Leo Raj against Angel Angel Garza. Legit, we've seen this before. These
Mhm.
guys did not disappoint. They know what they're doing in the ring. Once you put them together, they just give us a classic. And Angel Garza, from the
They
beginning,
they like mesh like this, you know
they
what I mean?
gel.
Their chemistry is just so good.
They're like like Spivy and
Mhm.
Jay.
Mhm.
They're like just ready for like bread and good, and you eat it and you feel good. Angel Garza started the match, not even before the bell rang. Whoop! The pans went off, and even
Yep.
Ronaldo is like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, "Oh, he took the pans off already."
Yeah, and I like when Angel was walking down to the ring, and there's all these, and then somebody had the Latina in the casa, and he like points to the sign, like, yeah, some chick had a little Angel Garza, like his logo on a piece of paper, and I think he kissed her on the cheek. So you
Yes,
know what I mean? I love how he just plays up to the crowd and all that stuff.
and let's make something straight here. Let's train something out. We don't really do this much, but the idea of Angel Garza being like the next Eddie Guerrero came from us. Okay, we were the first one that mentioned that. So, Mr. Bully Ray, can you please give us, like the exclusive. That's copyright infringement. Okay, so can you give us, our credit? That we came up with that idea first. Not you, Mr. Bully Ray. You might be Bully Ray, you might be Dudley, but we came up with that idea first.
But we're
We said
rope
it
break,
first
so
because we're Robrick and we're the only podcast that matters. You might have your own, so we said that first. So do not be imitating. Okay. So back to the match, John Paul. Like I said, actually, I thought that like Angel was gonna win, and Leo puts out the swerve, the
mhm.
Isaiah Swerve Scott, and he becomes the number one contender. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
I
Were
think
you
it. I mean,
surprised?
I'm not really because I feel like the next time, because I don't think Jordan Devlin's going to lose. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think the potato is that hot that it's going to be bouncing all back between all these guys. So it's like, are you going to have Angel Garza lose and he's in the storyline on Monday Night Raw against Humberto? Because if he loses to Jordan Devlin, then he's going to look like a loser going against Humberto. So I think, and I'm not saying that Leo Rush deserves to look like a loser, but, to me, like Leo Rush, he's not involved in any real storylines going on right now. And WWE's not going to job him out. He's going to look good even if he loses, but it makes more sense for him to lose, in my opinion, than for Angel Garza when he's on Monday Night Raw. So
If you
that's why
think
I
if you
thought
think it like
because
that,
yeah,
it makes sense that like he would have lost because like you're not. He's pretty much pulling double duty until
hmm
Andrade comes back. So it makes sense that like at least hey, that way you don't need to be on NXT and then you just focus on Monday Night Raw for the time being until Andrade is back. So some highlights of the match. Jean Paul, Raj and Garza are on the middle top rope, and Garza goes for like an avalanche wing clipper, but Raj blocks it and hits an avalanche crusher on Angel. But then Garza rolls out of the ring before Raj can cover him. Raj goes to the top rope and hits a final hour, the frog splash or the mango splash for
hmm
our friend Cha Cha Charlie. And a
there's only
beautiful
one man goose
interview.
splash though.
The Mango Splash, a beautiful interview that we did is in the channel. We're not plugging it in, just mention it. And, that one for me was like the best spot of the match. Outside frog splash, really,
hmm
really good. Like you said, these two guys can do whatever in the ring. It comes out flawless. So then Raj gets Garza back in the ring and goes to the top rope again. But Raj tries to hit a final hour of the frog splash again. And if you ever play, punching games, boxing games, if you ever played any type of like contact sport, you cannot hit your same move twice. We learned that from Dragon Ball, and Goku is
hmm
always right. So uh, Garza, of course, gets the knees up, and then he catches Raj for a super kick. Garza picks it up, Leo Raj, and then tries to hit a wing clipper, but then Raj blocks it and rolls Angel for a pinfall and the win. So, to me, I was a bit surprised. I'm like, why? Angel is the hottest thing right now. Why would you do that? But now that you bring the point that like he's pulling double duty, I think that it makes total sense.
Yeah, and I said, it's not like he hit the final hour on him, 1, 2, 3, done. Because then that is like a little bit more like, hey, you lost. A roll up to me is always like, yeah, you still lost, but it's kind of a bullshit way to lose. Do you know what I mean? So it's not
Yes.
like it doesn't hurt you as much. So that's how I
Yes.
always view a roll up. And I feel like Triple H and his creative team, they view it the same way. It's not like he got pinned by a finishing move. It was a
It's
roll
not
up.
that clean.
Yeah, yeah. And I do like there was so many good spots in this match. Like you said at one time, Angel or not Angel, Leo Rush, he was going to do the come up, like that springboard into like that stunner almost. And Angel Garza, because they have each other so much scouted, he drop kicks him in the back. There's just all like this good moves. Go back and watch it, the highlights on YouTube if you missed the show last night. Because it was just an amazing match. Like you said, definitely, it wasn't to me, they could have wrestled for twice as long. I could
Yeah.
have watched this thing go on for a half hour. I could
This
watch them in an Iron Man match, but for what it was a lot of action, and because it wasn't a very long match, I didn't think.
no, and but like
But
for the time that they gave him, they were able to put like a lot of good spots. And hey,
mhm,
we're talking about a great match right here. So yeah, they did a great job. So after that, then Leo Raj is celebrating on top of the where the Titantron is, and then out
mhm,
of a sudden, then Jordan Devlin comes out and he says, "You're the next obstacle in the NXT Cruiserweight Champions Tour." So
mhm.
we see the announcement that next week is going to be their
Yeah,
champion. the
And he
match.
tells him that nobody messes with Tanahashi. I mean, Devlin, the ace, whoever, one of
Yeah,
the aces. Nobody
yes,
messes with them.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, again, we're promoting
Mhm.
and we're saying that in Dream Match, the Ace Hiroshi Tanahashi against the Ace Jordan Devlin. So Jean Paul the Booker already booked this match, and we know that it could be still the show match, but we'll
Let's
see.
do some. Let's do some real worlds collide.
Yeah, the real
Yeah.
worlds collide, exactly. We get all up to that. We got a video package by the world's strongest man, or for some other like you and me, added to there,
It's
guys.
sexual, baby.
The sexual chocolate, Mark Henry, and he's talking about a big man. We get to see a little bit of flashbacks or slides from like Undertaker, Kane, Mark Henry, or himself, Andrew
On,
the Giant, and then we said, but now the
big
definition
sexy.
of giant, and
Hmm.
we get to see a really really nice crafted produced video package of Dominic Dijakovic and Keith Lee, pro hyping their match. It's going to be
Now
exciting.
this for me is gonna. This is for me is my. The match I'm looking forward to the most.
That's his WrestleMania, for example.
Because I was, I was all hyped for Gargano and Balor, and then they announced this. I thought it was gonna be Keith Lee and Roderick Strong. I thought they were gonna drag this out and have it be at Portland, but they went with Keith Lee early. Now Dijakovic. To me, that there's no way this match can't be the best match of the night. We'll get into it more at previews and predictions, but this video package got me real hyped up. And like you said, everything with Keith Lee, like he's like, you don't think Keith Lee's a moment maker? Look at War Games. Look at Survivor Series. He even mentioned the Royal Rumble, which we said, yeah, he looked kind of bullshit in the Royal Rumble, but he did knock Brock Lesnar on his ass, and Lesnar was looking at him like, who the hell is this guy? Like, oh my god, like Lesnar was like scared, shocked, surprised,
Is
whatever
the
term
first
you
time
want
that
to
you
use.
will see somebody as but we will say big, like muscle, yeah, like, will be somebody that you could really say, hey, this guy can go against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, and then the only reason
Powerhouse
why
against powerhouse.
Yeah, the only reason why he didn't do good is because Vince had to, like I said, Vince is the crazy old man and he yells for his prune juice and you just give it to him so he shuts the hell up. He's probably like, no, we can't have that. Braun Strowman needs to eliminate him because Braun Strowman needs to look good. So then, but if it wasn't for Strowman, Keith Lee could have pounced Lesnar right out of the ring.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's what I
So
mean.
we get like, a really nice video package. We know that this is again another great match. Like NXT again, like you said, Triple H knows what he's doing. He
Mm-hmm.
knows what he's doing. It's just so good to see how like he understands the crowd, he understands the demographics, he understands the fans, and he pleases the fans.
Yeah,
From match one to like main event, it's gonna be just a really,
mhm.
really great show to
And I
see.
do like the one line he said, where he's like, "And Dominic Dijakovic, this guy will step over the top rope like the Undertaker, and he'll springboard off them like Rey Mysterio."
Yes.
Because he's
Yes.
like this guy, he's like, back in pretty much he said like back in the day, and even in his day, big men were like chops, suplexes, power slams. That was it. Now these guys are doing moves that some cruiserweights can't even do.
Exactly. Like, see,
So,
like that's the new evolution of these giants that
mhm,
are agile, that like they have enough skill to do moves like you said, like cruiserweights do.
mhm.
So this new breed of superstars is really cool to see because these two guys can easily do any single move that the cruiserweights perform. So now we're gonna go back to the women's division, and we have Bianca Belair with Santana Garrett. I feel a little bad for Santana. She's a great wrestler, but she lost in pretty much 2 seconds.
I was gonna
She
say I actually blinked. It was like a real long blink. It was like
It was Blink 182. No, it
yeah,
was not
yeah, it
Blink
was. Yeah,
182.
but yeah, you missed it, and it was funny because, like you said, the match was so short. Santana Garrett's making her way to the ring, and the commentary's trying to get her over. They're like, oh, I forget who the boxer was who beat Mike Tyson, and they said maybe this will be the same thing. And then Morrow, he's like, yeah, but Mike Tyson wasn't prepared for that fight. But in this case, Bianca Belair never steps in the ring without being prepared. And as they're trying to hype up Santana Garrett, she was done. The match
Yep,
was
she
over.
gets the KOD and done.
Yeah.
And done. So because like you said, this match was just to enhance Bianca Belair. So I'm feel bad for Santana. She's a good wrestler. Hopefully she gets her moment in the sun.
I will say the same thing I'm gonna say that I said on Monday Night Raw with Sarah Logan. She got in Rhea Ripley's face. Oh, you can't come here. This is Monday Night Raw. Who do you think you are? She goes out to the ring. She says the same shit, walking down. I'm Sarah Logan. Screaming, and it's like, okay, gets in the ring.
Riptide.
And the whole thing, at least Bianca Belair was looking at Santana Garrett. Rhea Ripley's like doing moves while she's watching Charlotte. And it's like, what are you doing? Sarah Logan looks like a loser. Why couldn't you
Well,
just cut the promo? And I'm going to say the same thing here. Why couldn't Bianca just come out to the ring and cut a promo on Rhea Ripley? And then we saw what we saw after the match. Why do you got to make Santana Garrett look like a loser?
yes,
We already know how legit Bianca is. She doesn't need to prove it by beating Santana in 2 seconds.
exactly. So after that, like you said, cut a promo. She indeed cuts a promo, of course, burying somebody. And she says she's upset how Rhea Ripley is acting like Belair, like Bianca is like, she's acting like I'm not even here. I'm not even a threat. And then Bianca says that she will walk out of Portland as the new women's champion. But then Rhea Ripley's music hits, and she comes down to the ring looking severely unimpressed. And then Rhea says that she's not looking past Belair, and she's telling her that like she's going, through Belair, and when NXT Takeover Portland is all said and done, she'll still remain our champion. They briefly brought, but then Bianca hits another KOD on Rhea Ripley, and then Bianca celebrates in the ring by herself, which gives her, the upper hand. So she's looking extremely strong going into Takeover Portland. So, but wrestling psychology, whoever gets the upper hand in the go home show ends up
Yep.
losing during pay per
Yep,
view.
that's what I said. So if that stays true, I mean, obviously that's not a golden rule, but it's like, that would mean, by that being said, Dakota Kai is going to win and Rhea Ripley's going to win if you're
Yeah,
going off that, but we'll see. Like I
we'll
said,
see. We have
there's
previously
so many.
predictions.
Yeah.
We're both, have our choices. We'll see what they do. But wrestling psychology 101 on road break, with Jean Paul and Juan.
Mhm.
Normally, when you get the upper hand in the go home show, that means on the day of the pay per view, you will most likely be the loser. So, Mr. Egg, we get the last video package in the skit, the comedy skit with Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle, and they're going about to take an airplane, correct?
Yeah, yeah. They pull up and he's like, I don't know if this is like a term in the UK. And he's like, oh, we're taking the boot. And he kind of just saying like a British accent. And then Pete Dunne is like, he's like, can you stop it with that stupid accent? And he's like, all right, bro, he's like, we just got to load this thing up. And then he's like, why do we have to load it in there? He's like, you don't want to let some baggage handler, hurt our bro, because the whole time he's like the three of us.
The
He was
cop,
referring
yeah.
to the trophy, the Dusty Cup, as like the third man. Who's the third man? It was the Dusty Cup. So he was like they're loading it in there, and he keeps calling it like the boot. And he's like, Pete Dunne's getting annoyed with it. He's like, stop calling it the boot, stop using that dumb accent. And then he's like, all right, Pete, he's like, you go in there and I'll hand the trophy up to you. And they're in like the luggage thing. So Pete's in there, he's handing him the trophy. And then Matt Riddle's looking around, and once the trophy's up there, he like quick shoves the back end in of it, and he's climbing in. And Pete's like, "What are you doing?" Blah blah blah. And he closes the hatch, and he's like, "Whose plane is this anyway?" Boom! It's time to play the game. And you see
It's
Triple H. He's like walking to the plane, and then you find out it's his plane going to Portland.
yeah, and
That
it's like,
they're stealing a ride.
and then we hear, bro, we're going to Portland.
Yep,
So
I love
really
it.
cool. Yeah, really cool. Like, see, like they're cashing in. They're milking this, really good thing that they have on with the browser weights, and I love it. They're showing a different side of Pete Dunne, and Matt Riddle is getting over through this even more
Hmm.
because they like how he delivers the lines, how he makes like how he comes out like it's really funny, like really cool. He's a cool bro.
And
So
and the one thing I will want to say just popped in my head. I read something the other day. Booker T on his podcast, he was saying that about Matt Riddle and the Brock Lesnar thing. He was saying pretty much like don't have your mouth cash a check that your ass can't handle or something like that, or don't have your mouth write a check that your ass can't cash, because he was pretty much saying that like, hey, he talks all this shit, but if push comes to shove, is he gonna be able to back it up? Like if Lesnar starts to shoot on him, is he going to be able to beat his ass? And I'm thinking, do you not know that Matt Riddle was an MMA fighter and he was pretty good? Like Brock Lesnar is not like fucking 12-0 in MMA. He has almost as many losses as he does wins, I'm pretty sure. I think it's only like 7-4 or 8-4. His record's not that great in MMA. So, and he's older, he's slower. So like, I mean, Matt Riddle, if this was a shoot fight, I'd put the money on Matt Riddle.
yeah, oh yeah,
Just because you're bigger and bulkier doesn't mean you're going to win the fight. We've seen that in time and time again, that it's not always the muscle that means anything. It's the striking, it's the technique.
it will be cool to see, but I guess like the one thing I think they kind of like I guess when they're referring Booker T and all these old guys, it's kind of like because it's like he's not coming as respectful. It's
Hmm.
meaning like for example, it's like this youngster coming to you, Jean Paul, and be like, hey, yeah, yeah, I can beat you. And so like it's like okay, dude, it's like
Yeah, but then I
respect.
would tell him, I would be like, all right, well then let's book something and let's prove it in the ring. Instead, he
So
just avoids him. It's like Lesnar avoids him like the coronavirus. Like,
I
dude, like,
I
come
I,
on,
I
step in
feel
the
this.
ring with this
I
guy.
feel again it's against how they ask. I think it's
No,
etiquette.
it's because Lesnar's scared. He can't handle the stallion, the
Well,
bro.
maybe who knows? Maybe at some point they might do it. And I know you love Matt Riddle, and this way that he's portraying right now, this Matt Riddle that we're all seeing on TV nowadays, is a Matt Riddle that is showing also like his funny side, and he's getting a lot more over than he already was.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's gonna be interesting to see. I think that we're gonna have new tag team champions at Portland, but we'll save that for previews and predictions because we're gonna
Mm.
have a whole hour of previews and predictions with Mr. Leek, and we get a brief promo from Tommaso Ciampa. He's watching the videos of himself having to surrender the NXT championship. Then he says, how, like he's looking at it and he's like, oh my gosh, I really didn't even think I was going to come back or anything. But he just wants the belt a little bit too more. Then Ciampa says that like a man is more dangerous when he has nothing to lose and says, if you look into my eyes, you'll know exactly how true that is.
Yeah, and I mean it was a good emotional promo, but like to me, I don't know. I'm just not buying it. Like, I mean, agree with everything he says. I know he's not like lying, but I just like normally when I see promos like this, like it gets me sold on the character. But for Champa, I'm like, okay, like yeah, maybe it's because every week he's on TV, he just says, "I didn't lose the belt. I didn't lose the belt." It's like, okay, yeah, we get it. You had to give it up. It was a neck injury. It was unfortunate, but why doesn't he go out there and say like, "You guys you turn NXT and into a shithole. You guys think you run the place, not anymore." It's the same promo every time. Like, oh, I broke my neck and or like whatever, and I had to forfeit the belt. You never beat me. Like, if I keep hearing that every week, I'm not gonna care. I'll be like, yeah, dude. Like, why don't you just hold up a sign? Why don't you just become Sign Guy Dudley and just hold up a sign every week that says the same promo that you say every time you're on TV?
I just think Mr. Leek, I think that like Champa is a bad babyface.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree with that too. And like I said,
Like Champa is
and
Champa is legit when he's heel, full
yeah,
force heel. That's what
that
he feels.
yeah, and
You
that
know,
goes into the crowd being marks. Yeah, if I save it for AEW, I'm going to save it for NXT because I'm not biased. If I don't like something on one show, I'm not going to like it on the other. The crowd sometimes they cheer for like just everybody. You know what I mean? Like, but
they
the
don't
one,
cheer on
yeah,
what the person is saying. They cheer
yeah,
for the guy.
yeah,
That's what it is. It's like if Champa could be saying, all of you, suck. All of you, blow me, whatever. Like they'll be
yeah.
because
Like,
it's
look
still
with
they
Jericho.
love the
Jericho,
guy.
yeah, Jericho comes out and they sing his theme song, and then he's like, "You guys are a bunch of losers," and they're like, "Yay!" Or they're like,
Because see,
half
they
of them are
love
yay, and half of them go boo. But
because why? They love the guy.
yeah,
You're not really paying attention. Is that analogy that like the Beatles said? Is like they're so into us that we could be not even calling singing the songs completely wrong, completely coming up with new songs. They will still pop because they're not paying attention to what we're saying. They just care about who we are. So
exactly.
yeah, it makes total sense. And yeah, I just think that he's not a good baby face, and I think that like his best work is when he's heel. So
Hmm.
now, Mr. Leg, main event time. Kushida against Adam Cole. A really good match, a little short. And,
Hmm.
Kushida loses again. We were thinking maybe a win here would, like you said, will put his stocks back up. Because, like, right now that, like, he lost with Alex Shelley, 2 degrees young veterans, well, what the hell? Kushida is, like, where he became a nobody in every
Yeah, and I mean, he did look good here, but it was one of those things that this is a match I really could have saw Champa coming down to the ring and Kushida getting the win. I think if any of the matches, I said the Bronson Reed one or the Johnny Gargano or this match, any of them where there could have been a distraction and then there's an upset, I think it should have been this one because there would have been a huge pop for Kushida to win. Because the crowd is behind him still. I wouldn't say he's untouchable where he can lose, and they'll still be behind him. But because I feel like if he loses again next time we see him, then it's going to be kind of dangerous territory. He's got to start winning soon. But like this match, it definitely could have been one because even if Ciampa came down and Kushida got the win, it would have been ding ding ding, Kushida wins. But Ciampa and Cole would have started brawling immediately, so it would have been like an afterthought. Do you know
It,
what I'm
it would
saying? So,
I absolutely agree. Like, and especially because they had this thing with Alex Shelley, like it was so short.
and
It
that's
was
what I
like
mean. Like, yeah,
it was a minute, and that
is
was it.
Alex Shelley, was that just a one-time thing? I'm not sure what his contract was. If they signed him for like a deal, or what are you gonna do? But I don't want to see Kushida and Alex Shelley if he was signed, to a multi-year contract. I don't want to see them go against the Broserweights if the Broserweights win, because then they're just gonna lose, and that's two
Yeah.
babyface teams. I don't like babyface versus babyface.
So I just don't I don't understand what they did here, especially like when sacrificing Kushida. Like Kushida is good. Like they should
Yeah, I mean,
they should.
yeah, I thought he looked good though. I didn't think he got squashed or anything. He had really good offense. He could have beat Adam Cole a couple times. There was a spots where you thought, oh, maybe he will get the upset, but like you said, we know it's a work. It's not like a real shoot fight. It's not like skill versus skill. It's all pre-written, pre-predicted, whatever, predetermined. So like you knew like Adam Cole was gonna win, but at least Kushida still looked good.
Yeah. So Adam Cole sets up for the last shot, but Kushida does not let it happen. Instead, Cole hits Kushida with the super kick on him, pinning him for a 2 count once again. Cole goes for the Panama Sunrise, but Kushida blocks it and logs into the hoverboard lock. Then Cole draws up Kushida into a pinfall attempt while in the hoverboard lock, like forcing a break. Then Kushida hits a Pele kick on Cole, but Kushida kicks away and at Cole's head and goes for a back handspring again. But Cole kicks Kushida in the body and pins him, getting a 2 count. Cole immediately follows this up with a last shot, pinning Kushida for the painful victory. Like you said, a really good match. The one thing I hope that like they don't keep sacrificing Kushida. Yes, he looked good, but like he needs something something to do. He needs something. He needs to
Yeah,
start
and
winning.
I don't think they will. It's just one of those things where Kushida, to me, like if I always say NXT books so good, but there's so many. I don't know. It's just there's so many different things because If I got to go back to go forward with this, but like to me, Keith Lee was one of those guys who should have won the Royal Rumble. I understand Drew McIntyre, but like so if you're gonna do Drew McIntyre, that's fine. But then Keith Lee shouldn't have won the North American Championship. He should have been a guy to win the NXT Championship. Or you could have had him and Dijakovic be a team. They could have been in the Dusty Cup. And then you could have Pete Dunne be back on NXT UK. Matt Riddle could be in either contention, for the North American or the heavyweight champion, the NXT heavyweight championship. But Kushida is a guy who's perfect for that North American championship. But like he's not going to go against Keith Lee or Dijakovic or any of those guys. So it's like, what do you do? Like it goes back to what we said earlier. They have so much talent, and there's not enough stuff for them to fight for. The
You
only
almost
thing,
like will need like another show that will be called
yeah,
NXT
or the
to
only
digest
thing,
that.
yeah, the only thing would be maybe he goes into the cruiserweight division, and because I'd love to see him go against Angel Garza, Leo Rush, Jordan Devlin. I don't. I assume he's small enough. He llooks like he's 205 or less, and if not, just
205 Live,
yeah,
yeah.
if not, just lie. Just because I think they do kind of keep a weight. I mean, maybe not because I don't know. Is Tyler Breeze? Is he
I
two?
I
Yeah,
hardly think that like he will be over the 200 or the
yeah,
205 mark.
yeah.
So,
That's
but
what I
remember
mean.
what they did with Matt Hardy.
Mm,
He went all the way to cruiserweight. He went
yeah,
down. So we will see. But Jean Paul and Egg, at the end of this, Adam Cole is kind of celebrating a little bit. Then Champa music's hit, and then he gets right in the ring, and they stare at each other. They finish, the go home show with like a nice stare down, and then Champa says, "I'm gonna get Goldie back." And I will take my life back, which Cole responds, over my dead body. So, a really nice, like, last shot,
hmm
or nice look at both of them. And, we'll see this match is going to be extremely great. But, like you said, maybe Adam Cole retains yet. We don't know.
yeah, yeah. I
Nothing
mean,
is
like I said,
set in stone.
I have so many theories and this and that. I will save it. I already teased the fans enough. You got to tease them, dangle the carrot, on the string.
We
I
like
did
to
that
leave
enough.
the hook,
Yeah,
the
yeah, but
cliffhanger.
yeah,
Cliffhanger.
so please, I know I know the family is legit. I know they'll show up to previews and predictions. They'll watch it. But, it was a great way to end the show, to stare down. Like I said, it would have been maybe cool to have the stare down cost Cole the match, because then Cole would have been even more pissed at Ciampa. It would have lit a fire even more so under his ass to beat Tommaso Ciampa, because it's like, hey, right before Portland, I want to look strong. You caused me this match against Kushida. And because in Adam Cole, who's Kushida to him? He doesn't care. He beat him down last week, and then to lose to him this week, he would have been pissed off, this and that. But, they wanted everybody who's on War Games, not War Games, I'm sorry, Takeover Portland. They wanted all them to look good. So, and that's what they did. And it was, like I said, I'm excited for it. I know you are.
It's gonna
And
be,
like you said,
a really, really
we
great show.
we say it every time, but this card's loaded, and I couldn't have, put together a better card than what they
And
did.
like it's something that like the main roster is not able to make us feel. It's
Hmm.
not able to produce in us. It's not able, to make us like think,
Yeah,
believe,
because
feel.
I,
Like
I
I said,
saw a rumor match that was supposedly advertised for the Elimination Chamber, supposed to be Miz and Morrison versus the New Day.
yeah,
But we're getting that at Saudi Arabia, so it's like, why do we need to see it twice?
yeah. So and
That's
then
what I
that's
mean.
what I mean. Like, see,
It's like, yeah, it's
Triple H knows what he's doing. There's been a lot of reports that we will be elaborating a little more also on previews and predictions. We're gonna take that an extra notch because that's what Robreak does. We always try to improve. So we're gonna kind of like elaborate a little bit of news, reports of everything. But like Jean Paul said, this show is really load. Is fully loaded. Another
Mhm.
pun intended. WWE, and I think that it's just gonna be the one is the first time also that they're gonna do a takeover on a Sunday. So
Yeah,
they're really taking,
which
the
I'm not a fan of because of work schedules and stuff. But
contract
it is what.
obligations. Contract
Yeah.
obligations. Yes. Yes. So it really sucks, but we're gonna make it happen because that's what
Mhm.
we do. And I think, guys, we cover everything. We're ready
Yeah.
to wrap it up, guys. Thank you so very much once again for taking a little bit of your time for checking us out. Please, subscribe, hit that subscribe button right there, and help us out. Turn the bell on for all the notifications. We have a lot of content, and we have even more content coming. Jean Paul and I are always like, we're booking new things for the show. Like we're in meetings all day for you guys. Please, thank you again for the support that you give us in the Facebook page, in the Twitter, in the Instagram. Like we're getting a lot of also buzz over there. So say hi to all the new members on the Instagram page. And in the name of Jean Paul and myself, we both would like to say thank you so much. We'll see you soon with more content because tomorrow Otis and Mandy Rose go on a date.
Are you ready? Are
Bye.
you ready for some Otis?
Yeah, we're ready for
Because that's the only thing that I care about on that stupid, awful show.
Exactly. So we hope the best show to the worst show.
Yep.
We will be there. So in the name of Jean Paul and myself, we both want to say.